Agenda item number 1, public comment. Oh,
Calling
we
to
have
order at
called it.
2:04.
Let's, oh, yes, that's right. Thank you very much, Sims. I really
Just for the
appreciate
record keeper.
This
I
meeting
just-
of the Orleans Board of Health.
it. Meeting of the Orleans Board of Health commences on Thursday, August the 20th, 2024 at 2 p.m. in the Nauset Meeting Room in Orleans Town Hall. If you would like to join by Zoom or via computer or mobile device, it's at https://us02web.zoom.us/J/89232500178 and via phone at area code 646-558-8656, webinar ID 892-3250-0178. And with that, we will start with public comment. I'll recognize Patty.
Patty Platt and, oh, you want me to go?
You want to come up and introduce yourself?
Okay, make it official.
For the folks at home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true, yeah. Patty Platt and 8 Boulder Lane. I wanted to ask if I can defer any comments I have on, I think it's agenda number 5, the Toey Lane Pool variance.
Okay, we can do that. Thank you
Okay,
very
thank
much.
you.
Patty. Okay, any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 2, which is the continued show cause hearings for properties under order to connect to the municipal sewer. And the board, okay, go ahead. Agenda item number 2 is for properties under order to connect to the municipal sewer. And Meredith will give a brief introduction, and then I'll begin the hearings.
So the board will now conduct show-caused hearings for properties in Phase 1 of the sewer project who are not yet connected to the municipal sewer. As a reminder, the data compliance for these Phase 1 properties, which was March 16th, 2025. We have one hearing. The hearing's going to follow the same format as our previous hearings, where the property owner representative will have an opportunity to share any new updates, and the health department will follow up with any relevant information that has not been shared.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is John Smith, Vice Chair of the Orleans Board of Health, and I'm calling these show cause hearings to order on August 20th, 2026 at 2:06 p.m. These hearings are being conducted before the Board of Health pursuant to authority granted under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 111, Chapter 185, Board of Health Regulations, and the Sewer Use Rules and Regulations, Version 4, revised November 2024. The purpose of these hearings is to determine whether there is sufficient cause to take action regarding Phase 1 sewer connections for each property in Phase 1 that is not yet connected to the municipal sewer. At this time, we'll proceed with the continued hearings noticed for today. The board may also ask questions at any time. After hearing all testimony, we will deliberate and determine the appropriate cause of action. Before we begin, I will ask all parties to identify themselves for the record if they come up to the podium. With that, Meredith?
Yep, so, it doesn't look like we have anyone online for 8 Old Tote Road. We don't have any updates. I believe the last time this board had seen any substantial progress was, they had submitted a plan to AECom, and AECom had returned draft comments April 24th, of this year. And then I did have an email in June from the engineer saying he was hoping to get that turned in by July 4th, but I have had unresponded emails.
No responses since then. So that was June, was the last time that you had any response whatsoever. Okay. At our last show cause hearing,
What do we, December? What was the other ones
It
too?
was,
right, that was what I
Why don't we
was,
just say connect by December or shut your water off?
where we shut our water off. Okay.
No,
What was the
they shut
motion?
their water
Or
off.
they
We're
shut
not
their
shutting
water off?
I'm not shutting anybody's water off.
so I believe you guys had asked that they be connected by November 30th, or weekly fines would
I mean,
commence.
yes, and at this particular case, if they can come in between now and then and explain what's, I don't know. I actually, I'd take that back. This is not gonna work. This one's not gonna work like that.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a drawn-out process, and it is discouraging that substantive progress was being made, and now there is another 6-week, 7-week lapse of progress or communication beyond their self-imposed end date of July 4th. I think we need to find a way to motivate this property to get connected. And I don't know whether that's fines or, I mean, I don't know if it's occupied all the time.
Did didn't we remove one of the hurdles to getting the grant? Wasn't it like based on the water fund or something?
The aqua funds.
They had to qualify for 0% from Aquafund.
Didn't we remove that? Or no?
Have we given them a grant?
She has,
Town grant.
the individual has not filled out an application, so we haven't even been able to bring it
Forward.
forward to you guys. Although we've encouraged it at all points of contact.
So how about for this one, give till October to either have a final plan submitted and, 'cause she's gonna need the grant, right?
Yeah.
There's no question. So, or sell the house. I mean, and that, she talked about selling part of it. I'm like, well, you know, if you can't afford that, you can't afford a subdivision. But I guess my point is, like, could we give her a month to get the plan in but then we're running into if she doesn't, the threat of fine doesn't really help, because I'm on a hamster wheel.
Yeah,
Yes.
we all are at this point. I would like to see the opportunity for the grant to be given. But we need at least the paperwork and the application from her engineer, who is a relative, in order to achieve that. Yeah.
Was.
Was relative.
No,
We're not gonna go.
stop.
Sorry.
Uh,
Yeah.
May I make this suggestion?
Yeah.
Further outreach to the engineer. And as we have said to other properties in similar positions, this board's patience and goodwill is running out. I also would like to know water records, water use records for the property at our next meeting. If there's any indication that this is not occupied or only occasionally occupied. I think, fines aren't effective, but maybe removing the water meter would be.
Yeah, I think it is her residence, but yeah, I know,
Where else do we go, John?
I know.
Okay, the next meeting is September the 17th.
Sure.
I think it's September 3rd is the next meeting.
No, we don't have a first week of September meeting.
Okay, I can amend
We don't?
I thought
I thought we were back in September.
are we back on
I
September?
think we're back in September. That's what's on the,
I don't know if Joe and Asa are, but everybody else.
Okay,
that was on the approved calendar.
okay,
September 3rd,
September 3rd.
Yeah, and
which is pre-Labor Day.
right.
September's 3 weeks long this year.
Kids are thinking about school. I guess that's the question, is the threat of, I mean, it's almost, everybody else is getting told they're gonna get fined, or their water has to be shut off by them, like, that's their choice.
By the end of October.
Or be hooked in by the end of November, right?
Yeah, it was November
By our first
30th.
meeting in December, we have to know. This one doesn't even have the plans. Those are all, most of them have plans, or to a certain extent, so.
That's why I'm asking to bring some of these questions forward for further discussion sooner
Yeah.
rather than later.
Is there a way to communicate directly with the proposed engineer on this project?
I have been communicating with them via the same email chain,
Oh,
and that
okay.
chain has,
So they both have been communicating?
yes.
And that-
Yeah, please make progress by the next meeting, or we have to consider our options, which could include fines or, yeah, fines, I guess. And I guess we can just do it. It has to move forward. It has to do something. She has the engineer doing the work. Submit the plans, and then submit your grant application. This is built for it.
Yes.
Okay, so,
I move in the matter of 8 Old Toll Road, we continue show cause hearing to September 3rd, our next meeting, and requesting at 2 PM, and requesting our health department contact the owner and engineer as best they can, requesting substantial updates, including water use, a full application,
Grant
and a
application.
grant application. She needs to do the grant.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. On John Canega's motion and Sim McGrath's second, 300.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we continue the show cause hearings to September 3 at 2 PM.
On,
Second.
okay, on Sims McGrath's motion and John Canega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
300. Motion carried. Now, so that ends the show cause hearings, and we're on to item number 3 on our agenda, which is 4 Walker Road. Is there anyone here for 4
Yes.
Walker?
David Quinn, Ryder and Wilcox.
Good morning, or
Good morning or afternoon.
It's a long day, what can I say?
Yeah,
Or get you out of the hot sun for a little while.
exactly.
So tell us why we're here.
So we are looking to tear the existing 3-bedroom house down and replace it with a new 3-bedroom and connect to a 78 code system, which we inspected early June and passed the inspection, the septic inspection. And they're just looking to get permission to connect to that old, the 78 code system.
Right, and that will only be for a shortened.
They're in 9.
Pardon me?
They're in phase 9.
Actually, if it's Tides Lane end area,
They were going to be in phase 2, and then it got changed. So it's Poach It West is what they're in,
okay,
which
so,
is phase 9.
okay, phase 9. Because that area of Tides Lane originally, that was originally in phase 2,
Yeah.
that area was supposed to be moved to phase 4.
Yeah. On the latest map, it says phase 9, and it's where this lot is.
Where the lot is. Okay, good, because they're right next, I mean,
Yeah.
they
yeah.
border each other, so that's,
We had started the process because we thought they were gonna have to connect, and then it changed.
okay. All right, thank you. Thank you for clarification, I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
Okay, Meredith.
Yes, so, as David said, this is a Board of Health hearing request seeking approval to construct a new 3-bedroom dwelling and connect it to an existing 78 code system. By Title V definition, this would not be considered new construction or an increase in flow because they're going from 3 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. A file review shows this is an existing 3-bedroom home on a 27,000 square foot lot. The existing system is currently comprised of a 1,000 gallon septic tank, a D-box, and leach chambers designed to accommodate 3 bedrooms. The system was issued a COC in 1988. It did receive a passing Title V inspection in June of this year. And I do want to make the comment that the health department will conduct a review of the floor plans when a building permit is submitted to be sure the proposed plans are for a 3-bedroom dwelling. Because I don't know if I saw the floor plans.
I
in the
have
packet.
them here if
We
you would,
have them.
if you'd like to see them. Would you like everybody to see them?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, David, appreciate that.
Thank you.
And there's a foundation plan
So
too, showing
prepared.
it's all unfinished. They're doing one floor living, that's why it kind of seems big, but there's no second story and there's no finished basement.
Yep.
All gonna- It's a retirement home and gonna be all on one level.
So, yes, I would interpret this as 3 bedrooms.
Excellent, okay. Well, thank you very much for these.
So is this,
Right, nice bowling alley running along the side of that.
Basement's gonna be big. But they're just gonna have a wine cellar down there and that's it.
Okay.
it's a big wine cellar.
Any
Yeah.
questions from? anyone?
So this is this a variance request?
It's not a variance of request, it's technically it's a approval.
From our regs or from both?
It's because it's tying into an
Okay.
old code system,
So it's an approval request from
the Board of Health,
Board of Health's regulations, not,
yes.
I move in the matter of, unless you got something.
You have anything to say?
Nope, fire away.
In the matter of 4 Walker Road, I move approval of the approval request for the upgrading or the building, expanding of the current home to stay on the current system, finding that the applicant has demonstrated that keeping the same system will not significantly impact or be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the community.
Well, may I recommend that we note that it is currently a 3-bedroom house, and the new structure will also be a 3-bedroom house, so there is no change
In
in
flow.
flow.
With that, yes.
And may,
No.
And I spoke quietly, so I'm pretty sure that Valerie
Okay,
didn't
I
hear.
can add that.
and one other caveat, that when sewer connections are deemed appropriate, you connect within the town-regulated 1-year period or whatever period they deem appropriate at that time. Because this is an existing system, so therefore it doesn't get the 10-year
Right.
advancement.
They're aware of that, yep. They were ready to connect. They were hoping to connect and then that didn't happen.
So with the additional note that the applicant has shown, there isn't going to be an increase in flow with the 3-bedroom house remaining a 3-bedroom house. And the note to the applicant that they must tie into the sewer when it becomes available, I move approval.
Second.
On John Canega's motion and Sim McGrath's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
300, unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's 9. That's after me. You bumped me out of phase 3.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's your fault.
With that, we'll move on to item number 4, 123 Tonsett Road.
Hello.
Hi.
For the record, I'm Laura Schofield from Schofield Brothers, here with Don Connolly, who's
Good
the
afternoon.
property owner.
I'm owner of 123 Tonsett Road.
Okay.
Yep, and so we're here before the board today because Don would like to build a 1-bedroom accessory dwelling on his property. And this requires a variance to allow a new foundation for the proposed structure to be within 20 feet of the existing soil absorption system. And basically what we have here is the existing dwelling on the property is a 4-bedroom house. One of the bedrooms is going to be turned into just a walk-in closet so that we can take one of the bedrooms from the main house and give it to the proposed 1-bedroom structure. And in that way, we can avoid increasing the design flow on the site. Due to the shape of the lot, this little dog leg here is basically the only area that we have to put the dwelling. And it's exactly squeezed into the zoning setbacks. So we're very sandwiched between the zoning setbacks and the existing septic system. So the existing septic system was designed in 1999. There's a 1,500-gallon septic tank, a distribution box, and a galley system surrounded by stone. The existing system was inspected a couple months ago, and it was found to be in good working order. So the plan is to connect the proposed one-bedroom dwelling to a new two-compartment, 1,500-gallon septic tank. We'll just take out the existing tank and replace it with a two-compartment tank, which is required for the second dwelling situation. And then just we'll keep the existing leaching area. So in order to do this, we end up requiring a variance to allow for a full foundation. And this would be a variance from the Title V 20-foot setback between a leaching area and a foundation, and also the local Board of Health regulation to provide that 20-foot setback there. So to provide an equal level of protection to public health as if we were meeting that 20-foot setback, we're calling for an impervious barrier to wrap around this section of the house. And essentially, that provides the same level of protection as if we met the 20-foot setback. And what we've called for is for this barrier horizontally, the way it's shown here, is to provide that 20-foot setback, but also vertically, the top of the barrier will be at the top of the existing leaching area, and it'll go below the bottom of the basement floor. So that essentially will protect the dwelling from any leachate getting all the way over there. And in addition to that, we're also calling for a special waterproofing membrane to be added to the foundation itself as a second level of protection, even though I think that's overkill, because with the impervious barrier, I don't think we need that. So that's essentially it, and we're happy to answer any questions that the board has.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yay for belt and suspenders. I mean, it's just, and I'm assuming it's a relatively level
Lot, yes. it is.
parcel. Yeah, so, I mean, even that nice 4 mil stuff, which I assume is what you would spec, something like that.
I'm not quite sure what the mill is on that.
I think it says 40 mil.
Yeah.
It's pretty thick,
It's
yeah.
very thick.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
it's still sheet goods.
In addition, we were gonna, you know,
I think the barrier on the foundation is a good insurance policy. And, you know, this is I'd rather give you this variance than a waiver on the two-compartment tank. Because, you know, then you are, you know, mechanically compliant as opposed to spatially. So I think this is the preferable way to go. I'm in favor of granting the variance.
Any other questions?
No, you answered all my questions.
Okay, I just, on the bedrooms over in the other house, did you just put in you eliminated a doorway that used to go into the bedroom on the second floor? So it just becomes the closet for the,
I can actually answer that better. Yeah, from day one, it actually turned into a walk-in closet. It's a very small bedroom, and you actually pass through the master bath into that room.
Right.
So the one floor that I do have, the second floor, is just a master suite.
okay.
And we will close that door off, yes.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Okay, great. That was the only question I had. Do I hear a motion? Want to do this one, Sam?
Sure. In the matter of 123 Tonsett Road, variance request is for a leaching area to be within 10 feet of a foundation where 20 feet is required. I move we grant variances from Title V, Code 310 CMR 15.211, and Orleans Board of Health Subsurface Sewage Disposal Regulations, Section 185, 117.3, C2 and D, finding that the mitigating application of a barrier on the foundation and a plastic barrier between the absorption system and the new foundation is sufficient environmental protection. I would ask that for the certificate of occupancy for the one-bedroom dwelling is issued, that the main house be inspected for bedroom compliance for the changes you've proposed.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Canega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
300, passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, and with that, we move on to 65 Tohi Lane. Don Bliss.
Good afternoon. Don Bliss, builder and managing partner in 65 Toei Lane LLC. Here to request from the board a no pool fence variance for 65 Tohi Lane. Basically the same circumstances we had at 71 Tohi Lane where the board granted the waiver 2 years ago. We're within the 100-foot conservation buffer. We are going to install an auto cover. It's a very private setting. The pool will not be visible from the road. It's behind the house with retaining walls on either side. Because of the slope of the lot, it's actually less visible than the pool is at 71 Tohi Lane. So basically, it's the same proposal that we had at 71. Same circumstances.
Meredith, would you like to say a few words about this one, or should I start?
I can read into the record the bylaw if you would like.
Sure.
So Chapter 147 of the Code of Orleans regulates fencing around residential outdoor swimming pools. The bylaw states that every residential outdoor swimming pool shall be totally enclosed by a fence or solid structure 4 feet high in height, firmly secured at ground level with no opening, holes, or spaces larger than 4 inches in any direction. Such fence or structure, including gates, therefore shall not be less than 4 feet above finished grade, and any gate shall be made self-closing and equipped with self-closing safety latch placed at a minimum height of 4 feet from ground level on the inside of the gate or otherwise made inaccessible from the outside of the gate. For the purpose of this paragraph, an exterior door of a dwelling house can be used in lieu of a gate when such dwelling house is used to satisfy in whole or in part the enclosure requirements of this bylaw. Each swimming pool fence enclosure, as defined above, shall be placed at a distance no greater than 20 feet from the apron of the pool. The Board of Health is empowered to grant variances to this provision after a public hearing and a determination by the board that the public health and safety can be protected without strict adherence to the provisions of the bylaw.
So, would either of you like to start off, or can?
I guess I'm trying to figure out what some of the stuff is.
Yeah, it is very difficult to read.
By the way, it's great. I mean, we're supposed to get all the information, and then you gave us a ton of information, so it's very difficult for lay people to read what all the lines are. Do you know, are there fences on the sides? Is that what, it looks like there's on the sides of the,
No, those are setback. There's no fence shown on the site plan at the moment.
okay, so there's no fence at all?
No fence at all.
No, because we hadn't just determined where it would be, and because knew I would come for the variance, because I was granted the same variance for 71 Toby.
Which I have a question about. So we're going to talk about that in a minute, but go ahead.
What's this thing,
John, are you referring to the erosion control bales? I was
Yeah, those are
looking
the
at that
erosion
earlier.
control
The
barriers.
Yeah,
squares.
that's the work limit.
that's just for, okay, so that's just for the work.
If you,
You have to show
you
for
see
your-
the 100-foot setback line, it runs behind the pool, between the pool and the house.
But you are so far away from the water, and there's another building between you and the water, and a road between you and the water. So I don't really,
Where's the road?
it goes right
Oh, the
down.
driveway, I see.
Driveway that goes all the way down to lot 14.
We're still within the 100-foot barrier for conservation. I mean,
But that doesn't mean anything. in this particular committee.
Let's be relaxed.
Okay.
I mean, I get, so
So let me just,
conservation's gonna say
can I
no to
make an
anything.
observation?
Yeah, go ahead.
So a minor child, which is what these fences are designed to protect and safety for, correct?
Anybody.
Yeah,
Anybody, not just the children.
okay. So they're going to come to, between 65 and 71 Towie, they're gonna see a fence at 65, they're gonna go to 71, which has an auto cover as well. I mean, the circumstances, yes, we are further from the water, but in terms of the actual circumstances of the pool within conservation jurisdiction, privacy, it's Towie Lane, which as we know is a private road with very little traffic. I mean, the kids could walk to the ocean as well. So, to me, it's the same circumstance. You may see it otherwise, but, you know, in terms of the actual product and what we're doing, again, somebody standing on the road, so this one doesn't have a fence and this one does. And from the water, I mean, I don't see the relevance from the water. If they're already in the water, where's the relevance to that? For actually, they're more likely to see the 71 Towie pool from the water than they are the 65. So I don't understand, I guess I'm not clear on what difference it makes, how far from the water we are. Are we saying a kid's gonna swim up and then walk up to the pool?
There are children in that neighborhood.
Not
There are
many.
other people.
There
That is a-
there are teenagers, there are other people in that
I
neighborhood.
don't think I mean, I don't know if kids matter necessarily. I think and this is, I'm the least strict person on this.
No, I'm aware. I did this 2 years ago.
So so you have, what I would lead with, or I would have led your presentation with, is you have a automatic pool cover.
Correct.
So that's step one. And there's a fence along this side, the northern, sorry,
There's a retaining wall,
west side, there's a fence, it looks like.
or a retaining wall.
Okay, how big's that retaining wall?
It goes from 4 feet down to about 2 feet, but it completely, you're not gonna see the pool from the road.
On the west side?
And from
There's
the
a
east
fence-
side,
there's
it's
a fence
behind
in-
the garage with, it's 10 feet down from you have to walk past the garage downstairs to see the pool.
Yeah, it's it's a 20-foot drop, it looks like.
No, it's more like about, it's basically from first floor level down to walkout level. It's about 10 feet.
I'm looking from the road, it's 50 foot, 49 foot. And then
Oh, from the road, yes, it's even lower. I'm going off the house.
It's visible, this pool is visible from Towie Lane, no matter which way you try to make a difference on it. It's from Towie Lane on the, I can't tell what, yeah, from the south side of that property, it's totally visible.
The south side.
Over towards lot 15.
Over towards 71.
This is in a neighborhood
Mhm.
with other homes and families.
So is 71 Towie, which is more visible from the road.
But let's talk about 71 for a moment.
You granted the variance, so
We did, and that was on us because of circumstances that I believe we were unaware of at the time. Because when I take a look at what was submitted versus, the original submission was for a 16-foot variance and the fencing, which we granted. Then you
we
came back.
We never followed through with that. We never.
Then you came back and asked
That's
for
not
no
true.
fence.
There was one variance filed. I never filed for any extension on the fence.
I don't want to talk about the other one.
Well, yeah, as I understand, but if the board
You- not-
chooses
it's
to
not your
deny
fault.
the application, then.
No, I didn't want to bring it up. I don't think we should discuss another property.
Okay, in that case,
I mean, I'm only bringing up 71 because literally if you stand on the road, you're gonna see a pool with no fence, a pool with a fence. If I'm a 4-year-old, I'm gonna go to 71. you know, I mean,
But we have no control over that because you don't own that property any longer. So
when you
therefore,
granted the variance, you can't rescind the variance because.
I'm not rescinding a variance on that, on
I
71.
understand.
I'm-
I have a variance for exact same circumstances. So if you want to deny this, obviously there'll be appeal and we can all go to court.
Great.
So, you know, I mean, you can't pick and choose. It's completely arbitrary if you deny this. It's literally the same circumstances. Whether you say the pool's more visible or less visible, you know, that I can stand there and take pictures of both, so.
So you're saying that 71 is a visible property, the
Is what?
pool area? So you're saying that you, never mind.
You can see the pool, yes. I never said it was invisible. I said it's behind that, it's not. I know you don't like to grant these. I'm aware of that. But the reality is, I'm not asking for anything more than what I got at 71, which is the direct abutter. It's not like it's miles away. And I know the board has granted these in other circumstances as well. That's how we ended up coming before you for 71.
So I don't, I mean, I don't care about 71, because it's, here's the question to you. It's the board, sorry, we can grant a variance if you can convince us that the public health and safety can be protected without strict adherence to the bylaw. So, can you do that? You're not convincing me.
It's going to have an auto cover,
What is,
which
auto-
meets state code, as you all know.
what is automatic about the cover?
What do you mean?
Well, we're referring to it as an automatic pool
Look, I
cover.
mean, it
What
has
is
to be
automatic
manually
about it?
turned on and off.
I understand that, which means that people can leave the scene and not
Certainly
close it.
can. I mean, but
So is there a secondary warning system that could be implemented?
I'm not aware of a warning system on an auto cover that's not retracted, because then it would be going off the whole time you're using the pool. How are you gonna detect whether someone's there or they've left?
There are
Wave sensor.
There are wave sensors.
Yeah.
There are alarms that can be placed on all egresses from the building.
Well, we did that at 71 as well. That was part of the grant of the
I
variance.
don't see that in the application here.
Hmm?
Did you put it into the application here before us today?
I don't believe I did, but we certainly can add that to the application. If the board wants door alarms, we typically put door alarms on. That's building code.
No, it isn't. It's
Well,
part of our regulations.
Well, no, it's also building code. So it's a standard procedure. So anyway, yes, I would have no issue with door alarms. If there is a mechanism that can be employed to automatically close the pool, I'll look into it. I'm not aware of it. But,
No, it's-
The problem with that is that it could close
When
with
you're in
someone.
it.
who's
Someone's in it.
Yeah.
It's an alarm.
Right.
A wave sensing system is an alarm system that allows you to know that someone's in the pool at any given moment in time when there's action in the pool itself.
And it can be put on timers. It
On
can
your
be
old-
paused for specific periods of time.
And it can be on your phone as well, so that if you're away from the facility, you have some indication that someone is in your particular pool area and has triggered an alarm.
I mean, I would be far more comfortable with this application if there were a device like that also proposed. I manage houses with pools and pool covers. I know there's a reason that you cannot open and close a pool cover remotely, because you don't know whether or not anyone's in it.
pool, correct.
So there's nothing automatic about a pool cover, and I object to the misnomer. But it's in the lexicon, so I have to manage it. I understand that a pool cover is an excellent safety device when used conscientiously. I have concerns about things being used conscientiously, especially when it passes out of your individual control. We can be as difficult as we like with you here today. I know that this will pass out of your control at some point in time. And I am worried about not necessarily tomorrow or the day after, but future uses. And we have to look at all of these, we have to look beyond today to future general uses. I would like to see a secondary warning system in this pool.
I can look into to see what's available.
So should we move to continue this to another?
Would you like us to continue this for you, or would you like to come back with something else for us to consider?
No, I'd like to have it continue, well, I'd like to have it continued. What I'd also like is be able to proceed with the pool at risk, knowing that before we put water in it, that we'll either resolve this with no fence, or, if not, then I can install the fence. Because I've already been delayed.
I appreciate the sequencing of construction procedures, and I would be comfortable with that, understanding that it is at risk and no water goes in until this is resolved.
It's fine.
It's continued 2 weeks, it's not, I know that's a lengthy time in
I
this.
know,
I
but
know it's-
unfortunately, because you only have one meeting a month, or had only one meeting a month this summer, I've lost.
But we got September 3rd, so it's not like crazy.
Is there anything else besides an automatic warning system that the board would like me to look into before we come back in 2 weeks?
That and specifying the alarm systems on the doors of the house. And as I am aware that there are other parts of the world where fences aren't even a topic of discussion. We have a
Well, I mean, the
bylaw.
reality is only Barnstable and Orleans still require pool fences on Cape Cod.
So, if we can get a secondary alarm system and the alarms on the house, I will not be able to find grounds to deny this. I speak individually on that, but I can't.
So we're handcuffed by, you gotta just show us convince us that the health, safety, and welfare are protected. I understand there's other houses, that's why I can't talk about other
We
houses.
can't
'cause
relitigate other things.
it's irrelevant to this house. So if you just come and show us it's, hey, this is safe, here's why, it's got a pool cover.
I mean,
it's
my
got
only
this.
comment would be, there's no automatic safety device in 71 tow. It's up to them to close the pool. So-
One mistake does not justify another.
No, but it's called precedent, so anyway, it's fine. I will try
I
to
don't see
accommodate.
anything arbitrary and capricious about this process.
Yeah, the whole point is, we have a bylaw, we have to enforce the bylaw, until someone brings it to town meeting and changes it. We have the bylaw, we're governed
I
by the town
understand.
bylaw.
But, I'm not the first, this is not the initial time that someone's come requesting a pool, this variance. I know because I was granted one 2 years ago for the direct abutting property. So you may not see it as arbitrary. I mean, I think the courts might see otherwise. They realize that literally the same circumstances, two direct.
Mr. Bliss, if you would prefer to litigate this
I don't
through the
want to
court
litigate it.
system,
I
then
don't- I'm
then
not
you are,
saying
that
that.
is certainly your privilege. I'm offering you an opportunity to
I
have this
told you that I will
continued to
do that.
September 3rd.
I will do that.
In the matter of, which Toey Lane are we?
65.
65 Toey Lane, and the question of a pool fence, I move this matter be continued to September 3rd at
Did we wanna hear in a butter, by the way?
2 PM.
Okay, are there any abutters present that would like to speak at this time?
Correct.
Patty, if you would like to come up to the podium, please come up to the podium.
May I, in the motion to continue, can we address the proceed at risk?
Oh,
Go
Patty
ahead.
Platten, am I supposed to talk now?
You're on.
Okay, 8 Boulder Lane. I'm not a direct abutter. I'm actually on Boulder Lane, which is a street behind this street. But I'm 2 houses away from this house, 2 lots, I should say, so I'm fairly close. I have a lot of notes here. I probably can't even get through them all, but I want to say we do have a pool. We had an auto cover. They're fantastic when they work, but guess what? They don't always work. They break down, and then the motor doesn't work, and you end up leaving it open because otherwise you can't use your pool. We also had a pool fence with gates and alarms on that, so we felt safe with that. And as far as the wave mechanism thing, I mean, it sounds great if you're at the house, but what do you do if you're not home, your phone's left in the car, you get an alert? How long does it take for a child to drown? I mean, my nephew walked down to the deep end in the pool with his arms up. He would have been gone in like 2 minutes. So I don't see that the wave thing. I think it's great if you're home. I think the auto cover is great if you're home and you're actually going to shut it. But people go in, they take showers, they throw laundry in. Kids can come in, and the alarms on the doors to your house are great for your people, your kids. They're no good for the neighbor kids that come in. And yes, there are kids in that neighborhood. There are also a lot of short-term rentals between our neighborhood and this neighborhood. People transverse those streets all the time. We walk almost every day down Toey Lane, and Toey Lane people walk through our neighborhood. And there's a lot of short-term rentals. And people, I think, assume that pools are protected. And if you rent a house and your 8-year-old's riding a bike or whatever down the street, I'd like to think that that pool has a fence and was at least a deterrent. Yes, the kid could climb over the fence, I suppose, but maybe for a 4-year-old that wouldn't happen. But there are children. There's also a handicapped adult nearby in that neighborhood who is a magnet for pools. They have their own pool with a fence and safety mechanisms and an auto cover. But this pool would have none of that. If he goes out the side door and is a magnet, as are people with Alzheimer's and stuff, they're totally drawn to pools and water. You'll hear that. In fact, when they're looking for someone, the first thing they'll do is send helicopters up to look where's water, because that's where they're going. But I just wanted to point out that it's in a neighborhood. There are children. There are rentals. There's a house right down the road, an enormous house. They have a lot of children that come and rent there. And they're probably not aware that this pool may be there. Their kids ride the bike, walk down the street. I just like to think when I'm in my neighborhood, I feel safe. I realize Barnstable, I've heard now, and Orleans are the only ones that require fences. It seems surprising to me because, you know, what you want to do with your own family is your own business, but you just don't know. Kids can wander in. And I know we're not supposed to talk about the house next door, but kids were seen climbing up. There's a little path from the boathouse there, and there will be from this house, just from the beach, climbing right up into the yard and observing the pool. Neighbors on Toey Lane told me that. So, you know, and both of those houses are totally visible. The pool is totally visible. I have photos that show that it's visible. Neighbors' dogs have wandered in those properties. And wildlife, if you have a barrier fence like 20 feet from your pool apron, I don't think on a property of this size is going to affect wildlife transversing your property. I'll ask John Janelle, but I'm sure he would be fine with that, 20 feet away. They're not really interested in coming so close to your house. There's plenty of space. There's lots of land that they can go on. But I mean, I had a lot of things here, and I know we can't talk about the other house, but I will say in a nutshell, the conditions presented, and I have written to one of you at least, were not there. And I have photos to prove it and everything else. So this one with the same conditions, you'll see the pool from the street. And even if you can't, I mean, a pool should be protected. We should be protecting our children and our families and people. I think that should be an important thing. Because at the end of the day, I hate to say this, but these builders that come in, go away. They sell their house, they make a big profit, they're gone. It's off their table. But the people that live in the neighborhood and may live with the consequences of this are here. And I think we should be cognizant of all of that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Can I just note for the next meeting, it's not that I don't want to talk about a different property. It's that the question is a pool with a cover and/or added protections, alarms, whatever, is that as safe as a pool fence that is within 20 feet of the pool? That's the question. And the answer is, over time, we've tried to, deal with that question, and then the building code changed. The state said a pool cover is as safe as a pool fence.
State code does
Right.
not require a pool fence.
Which, my point being, that's now the question. So when you put it in, that's what we're dealing with, an old bylaw that says we have to make sure it's as safe as a 20-foot fence that's within 20 feet. And you're starting with check box number one, the cover. and then they're asking for additions, which you understand.
Which is, I'm sure, where no other town has any requirements to the, I don't know what the 20 feet's about. That doesn't make any sense. I
Well,
mean,
so frankly, that's actually your point, and I think that it got a little hot over there for a second between the two of you. The question is not whether we act arbitrarily. We're not a precedent-setting board. We set zero precedent. But whether the bylaw is arbitrary would be the actual argument. We're asking that you come back with more safety provisions for your current neighbors, and I think that's a pretty safe ask, unintended.
Can I make one other comment? Is that
Sure,
okay?
go ahead.
Okay, the other thing I was gonna say, I know you only send notices to like direct abutters or within a certain number of feet. And I guess that's just the way it is and it won't change. But I think in some instances, like maybe this kind of instance, it might not matter if you're adding an accessory dwelling unit or a second floor, another bathroom. But with safety type things, maybe all neighbors in that neighborhood or within even our neighborhood, because we're 2 lots away, should be aware that something's going on. Neighbors on Towie Lane did not know about this, except the direct abutters. Others told me they saw the safety cover on the pool. They assumed that a fence was going up before the pool was opened. So neighbors didn't know about this. And I think people should know about it if this goes on. I mean, it's much more of a safety issue than where your driveway's placed or if you have a second story on a house. So I thought about that too, that even my neighborhood had no idea that 2 lots away this was going on. But I know you have a certain protocol as to how you notify people, but maybe it needs to change.
Well, it's just standard for variance requests.
Right.
They go to the assessor.
Right.
The assessor puts it in the computer program, says what kind of variance is it?
Yeah, it just
Board of
kicks it
Health,
out,
and
yeah.
It says who it is. The problem is, and I'm not trying to tell anybody or inviting litigation. The problem is, this type of applicant who has a very nice house and a very expensive thing that they're doing, if they fought this bylaw, I don't know if the bylaw would stand up in court anymore. That's the problem.
Right.
So we can all be against things.
Right.
We're asking, can you come back to us with something
Right.
safer to make your
Yeah.
neighbors feel safer? And he's agreeing to do that. I think that's a compromise of sorts, because if this goes to litigation, as a person who does that, the half a leg it's standing on, I don't know how the chair sits, but.
No, I can understand that. I just think it's too bad sometimes. I think you guys are doing the best job you can do, and I commend the town of Barnstable and Orleans for trying to stand up to some of this. Because as you said, Sims, you manage a lot of houses with pools, and, it's too bad that there's not more consideration from other towns, the safety of the neighborhood.
Well, John's.
State regulation.
Yeah, we're up against state
Yeah.
regulation.
Right,
John's
right. Well,
point-
it's too bad, even with the state then, yeah.
John's point every time is that there's, kids are gonna climb the
Right.
thing, or the kids are gonna whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 3 kids, like, if you can keep them jumping off a second story for fun, it's.
Well, that's why I came to speak, because I just felt that it was an important thing to say and to represent people that have kids. So if something happens, we can at least say, hey, we all thought about that, and it was important.
Actually, I have seen it happen, so I don't.
I have
want
seen it
ever
happen
again.
too.
So
Yeah.
that's my only, it's the attractive nuisances of this
Yeah.
particular situation that gives us all nightmares.
Right.
So, with that said, thank you very
Thank you,
much for
thank
all your
you.
help.
Thank you for your time and for coming in.
So,
Shall I move on with the
yes,
motion?
please.
In the matter of 65 Towie Lane and the application for no fence around the pool, I move this matter be continued until September 3rd at 2 PM. And I will note that the applicant has requested permission to continue with construction and has stated that the pool will not be filled with water until this matter is resolved one way or the other. And I would include permission to continue in my motion at the risk of the builder.
Yes, so I can only sign off on the health department, and I cannot speak for the building department,
Right.
just to clarify.
I don't think the building department's gonna have an issue with it. if you
Second.
sign off.
Thank you. On Sim's motion and John Kanega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 300.
Thank you,
We will
Mr. Bliss.
continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will move on to our discussion of innovative alternative technology testing requirements.
This is a much less fun subject,
Um,
right in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, something right in our wheelhouse.
So, at our last meeting, we were discussing IA technology and the testing requirements and how does the board want to proceed with individuals who may not be meeting those testing requirements and and if they are testing frequently enough, what do we do if they're not within the testing parameters that have been granted by this board? I did put the kind of one-pager, general information in here for you guys to review, and then I did include 2 draft letters of examples of what we would send property owners we have on record as having innovative alternative technologies. So one, letter is if they are meeting all the parameters, so they're meeting the frequency that they're required to test it at, as well as the other, limits such as BOD, TSS, total nitrogen. And then the other letter is an example of what it might look like if they were not meeting those standards. So I wanted you guys to review those for comments and ask kind of what would you like to see for enforcement action from the department.
What are our options in that particular regard?
I think there's a couple different ways you could go about it. You could request that they come to the board and provide you with information about how they're going to remedy if, say, their nitrogen they need to be meeting 19 parts per million and their average is 60 for the last 2 years. Have them come in and kind of discuss what's not working with their system. Or you could issue a fine. It's just,
So, this is my question for Meredith. What is this body's enforcement authority, and what penalties can be applied?
well, in a lot of these cases, I believe most of the time people have IA technology because they wanted to get an extra bedroom. So we can't take away the extra bedroom. So I think from a health department perspective, we like to have a lot of ongoing education. We're not a punitive department. We rather have the conversation and give them the opportunity to come in. But I think the only really penalty you could impose is most likely a fine.
And is it like jaywalking, $1 an event, or? I mean, I literally looked that up. You can be cited for jaywalking. The fine is $1.
I did it last night.
And the second offense is $2.
Oh, it's a sliding
But it seems
scale.
to stop there.
No one's done a third time.
Um,
No one's tested it.
Around here, you just don't live
In,
that
in this regard, one thing that you should be aware of at our last Orleans wastewater advisory committee meeting, we were given a demonstration of a new capability that the town is putting forward, a database whereby you will be able to look at any property in Orleans and find out all about your sewer connection and all about your payments and your water use. And it will include whether or not you're on an IA system or not, so that they can track what's happening with that particular IA system. It's one of the features that's going to be provided. So we will be able to see what's going on any specific property and take and create the data, the spreadsheets showing us exactly what's happening across all of Orleans with all of these, with the properties that are within our jurisdiction. It's something new that the Department of Public Works is putting together with the ECOM. It's specifically to track what's going on with the sewer systems in each given area as phases go through. They're populating it right now with phase 1 and phase 2 data, and as soon as everybody's up to speed on phase 3, that will be included as well. The database is supposed to go live in November, December, but that you'll be able to look up your own property and find out exactly what's going on. It will not include any data about what your current septic systems are currently, but from when I asked Rich Waldo about that, he said that they are working with several interns over the course of the next several years, and they'll be back populating that information into the databases with as much time as they have to offer. So that may be on there as well, because not every property in Orleans will eventually be sewered. So anyway, that's what's going on. I thought, and that will help us in showing exactly where these IA properties are and how we can monitor their participation in what they give for testing results to, to Barnstable County. All of that'll be tied into
So
the
that,
database.
that will simplify the tracking process.
Right.
One of the things that's a mystery to me is that different testing labs present the information in different formats. And I understand that there are people at the county that are smart enough to interpret that and put it into the county's database in appropriate forms and numbers. And when it's called one thing on a labs report, it goes into the database perhaps under a different heading that means the same thing. I would love to see some uniformity. I don't know how we get that. The second comment I have is that there is invariably going to be someone who is either negligently or intentionally non-compliant and is unresponsive. What remedies does the town have in those circumstances? I don't know.
Who sets those too? Are we entitled to set those particular fines?
Understand, we can assess fines.
Right.
Yeah,
They don't pay them, it becomes municipal lien. We'll get paid whenever,
Property sales.
yeah, there's a transaction. It's not really the end game that I'm searching for. Compliance obviously is the primary concern. And so I kind of need to know where it could go to know how to write the letter to somebody. I backed into that very, very awkwardly. I'm sorry, Meredith.
I see I see your train of thought. I'm wondering if perhaps, I would hate to continue this discussion again, but
Well, I'd like our other two members to be.
yes, there is some work going on at the county. I could check back in to see if they're any closer to creating what they've essentially boiled down to a smarter database that will ping them when people aren't compliant. And they do have staff that can then work with the operators who are maintaining these systems to figure out why are they not working. It's a little bit more hands-on. I think the fee to participate in the database would be a little bit higher because there would be a little bit of a service provided with that, is my understanding. But I'm happy to reach out to someone at the test center that Barnstable County manages to come and speak to the Board of Health, so you can kind of see from their perspective, because they do this day in and day out.
And for the layman here and out in the public, it's a little bit of a black box.
Out of curiosity, just if you don't mind, where was I going to go with that? On the letters themselves, I think that the one for people that are compliant, it has a very positive message about, boy, a gold star for you kind of thing would be appropriate. We really appreciate you getting this. Give them a good pat on the back for being compliant and we want you to continue to do that same thing for years to come. And then those that the ones that we're going to see issues with probably are ones that are not necessarily here all year long. So some way of remediating, was there a problem? Did you leave and go away and come back for a while, or how can we help? Is it does the, this is the question, the testing company, they're gonna go out regardless, one way, if we tell them there's a schedule. Are they also the remediation company that's going to be handling the work if there's a problem?
Well, the company only goes out if they're hired to do so and they're being paid to do so.
Right, and they're being paid by the homeowner.
Yes.
And that's gonna be on a regular schedule. So, and if it's set up as a regular schedule, they're not gonna know whether it's a good time to go out or a bad time to go out relative to with the homeowner. So I'm just saying, if there's a way of, just checking, is there a letter for just, see, we noticed that there's been a dip in, or an increase in the amount, but we just want to give you a warning that maybe it's time to take a look at your system, or, does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
So that we're not going to penalize them right away, or, you must come in and, but something that just makes them aware of the problem and then allows them the opportunity to take care of it before they ever show up and deal with us, because we're going to look at your next one just to see if that was just an anomaly, or is there something we need to be concerned
So
about?
lean into the supposed desire for compliance.
Right.
Yes.
And I think that's starting on the high road, and that's fine, that's good. But some of the problem is the irregularity of testing. I mean, we require testing on a certain basis, and, maybe the homeowner's writing the check and the testing company is understaffed and is not getting there on that sort of schedule. We can speculate wildly, but it's just like, we gotta tighten things up in that regard also, and I bet that's the county's desire also. There's a little bit of there's a conversation to be had, and maybe the new software will get it done. And maybe it simplifies intermediate reviews. And so maybe it's 2 on-site tests and 2 data review a year. But and maybe that's a middle ground for the people who want a reduction in testing frequency.
Right. Which
It's-
we've told them in the past.
Yeah, but I mean, the quarterly is, the starting point on the quarterly, is that local reg or
That's a requirement with the state.
part of the state approval? And we get to reduce that with cause, i.e. it's testing well.
Can we also increase the number of times that they, if they,
I'm not sure that's a benefit.
I don't know if that's a benefit because you want the system to have enough time to correct itself, but,
no, I mean, if it really starts spiking up, and we've seen it, we've given them, we've reduced it down to 2, and then it just starts going off the wall, can we request that they test it more often? Go back to 4 times a year as opposed to 2?
oh, yes, I imagine if the Board of Health had granted them a biannual or yearly testing, you could rescind that if they're not meeting the original parameters, that were conditioned.
So the one positive recommendation I can make at the table today would be that language needs to be in every granting of reduced testing.
Yes.
So,
If we see over time this spikes back up.
on my tiny little stake in the sand.
Would it be beneficial if I asked someone from the county who can probably, because I know I can't speak to what it looks like when you go out and maintain these systems. I don't do that. I'm not trained in it. But if I could have someone come here that could speak to that. And
I'd like to learn what are the maintenance parameters? Do you maintain a seasonally used system differently from a year-round system? I manage a property that has one of these systems on it, and it's just like, I try really hard to, and it's not in Orleans, but I try really hard to remind the homeowner that, this testing needs to be done. And sometimes it's done absent my knowledge. They'll reach out to him and say, it's time to do it, and apparently it gets done. Other times I'm asked to meet them. I don't know what they do, but it's, We need to know, we need to be more knowledgeable, I think, to really get our arms.
Yep. So it sounds like I'll
manage it.
bring some people in for an educational IA 101 to help.
It doesn't have to be a full-day lecture.
No, I will ask for an abbreviated version. I don't think we want to sit through a.
I mean, but bullet points on testing, bullet points on basic chemical terms, and bullet points on maintenance. And that would be probably generic and not specific types. I mean, unless there are notable outliers, like there, you know, half the systems require this, and other systems, of the other half of the systems run the gamut and may or may not require one thing or the other. Sorry, I'm going out, not
That
coming in.
sounds good. That's good. That's good. So, do you have enough to help you with the letters that you included, or,
I'll take a stab at them.
okay, all right. So there might be more than 2 letters, is where
Yes.
we're going.
Yep, that's what it's sounding like.
Yeah, there's a process.
Yep.
So, depending on where they are in that that chain of events.
I just think I need more education before I can be helpful to you.
Yeah, that's okay. And I mean, I think in the past, very similar letters of these have been sent out, and it's been on a cycle, it looks like, when I've looked through past records, about every 3 years, because it's a pretty substantial undertaking for our office to go through each one. And a lot of times it at least makes the homeowners aware in case they didn't know. Say they bought the property and they just didn't
In that
do their due
In that
diligence.
3-year cycle, does every single one of the IA system properties get?
Get a letter, yes. They get some sort of letter that tells them what kind of system they have, what are the conditions that we have on record, and at least a 2-year look back at all their testing data.
Good. So that's great.
I can imagine that's an effort, but I think it's a worthwhile one.
All right. Any other thoughts before we move on from this particular discussion? Do you have everything you need, Maren?
At least to get us to the next meeting, I think so.
All right, with that, we will move on to agenda item number 7, temporary placement of Crantum?
Kratom?
I say
Kratom?
kratom, but I've
Kratom
heard,
as-
I was on a state webinar that pronounced it 4 different ways, so I don't know.
As a substance 1 controlled substance.
Yeah, so I did make this an agenda item for you guys just because I think it's important for you guys to know what's kind of going on at the state level with the Department of Public Health. So on August 13th, the DPH Commissioner, Robbie Goldstein, did issue an emergency order addressing kratom products in Massachusetts. This order takes effect August 28th, 2026, and it's temporary for up to a year while the state kind of evaluates what the issue is with kratom, which is currently an unregulated substance, and they can then pursue a larger statewide approach. So it's important for you guys to be aware of this because it leaves the kratom regulation up to the Board of Health to take action on it. So essentially, by designating it as a Schedule I controlled substance, it's going to be illegal for anywhere to sell it in town, and it's going to be up to the Board of Health, the health department, to go out and enforce that if places aren't compliant. So in the packet, I did include what that emergency order is, a little bit of background about how we kind of got to this point and why the state felt like they needed to take an emergency approach, what products might look like, because a lot of people don't know what kratom is. I've seen it at gas stations, at the front, at the register, and they look like a 5-hour energy, and currently there was no age limit of who could buy it. And it's pretty scary because that means teenagers could buy it. It kind of mimics this high. People are becoming addicted to it. So that's why that emergency order is in place. I do have a letter drafted up in here that I will send out to anywhere that sells tobacco products, because that seems to be, when we went out and did a survey a couple months ago, Heather and I, that seemed to be the most common place that we were seeing these products, as well as have it posted on the website so people are aware.
Would this also be in the marijuana shops as well?
I haven't seen it there, but I have to admit that was not on my list when I went out and spot checked town. It is Kratom is currently in a couple places in town, so it is in the community, and a lot of people just don't know what it is, or that it can have these addictive qualities. Yeah, I just at least wanted to provide that information to you. Like tobacco, penalties could include fines up to $1,000 per day if we need to use enforcement. Obviously, we would rather people voluntarily take it off their shelves, so we're going to be going out and doing a lot more education about what it is. And then also, we can also enforce it under the Massachusetts Food Code because it is not an approved substance to be added to food. So, like when CBD and hemp was really popular and getting added into beverages, that was not an approved substance recognized by the FDA, so we could also use that as an enforcement measure.
Will we need to include it in our regulations, in the local Board of Health regulations? Like we
Right
do
now,
tobacco, or
no, we do not.
we don't have to do?
No, because this is going to be a state regulation.
Okay.
So if we agree to temporary placement on this as a Schedule I controlled substance, do we also need to vote to adopt the state's emergency regulation as a local regulation?
No, you do not. It's a state regulation. We can't overturn it. We have to do what it says. I mostly included it in the packet because I wanted you guys to be aware. And I also did include a draft of the letter I wanted to send out. So if you have any comments on that.
So if we, as the Board of Health, designate it, then it is automatically under that regulation, the state regulation, and the town can enforce it as the state would enforce it?
We can already enforce it like Title V, we can enforce Title V without you guys adopting Title V. We can enforce this regulation.
Got it, understood.
So, since tobacco products are sold at supermarkets and things like, does that also include those in your letter? Do those?
Yeah, I would like to send it out to all of our food service establishment, retailers, and our tobacco licensees, and at least get some more
I think
publicity on the website as well.
The state's about to ban it.
The state is about to ban it. It's in I think it's a 15-day,
Yeah, 14-day notice.
14-day notice, yes.
And then,
It's in that period, but as of August 28th, it will be illegal to sell.
so it's about to be illegal. I don't know anything about it. I don't understand it. I hate banning things I don't even know what they are, like, or specifically things that I don't use. So like tobacco, when there's like bans on it, I'm like, it's easy for me to say, whatever, I don't care, because I don't smoke butts, but I think that's my only issue. It seems like a small amount of deaths, but I know they don't have, I'm not trying to minimize the amount of deaths, I'm just saying they don't have as good a lobby as the alcohol lobby, I would say. So I always question when I see something like that, or CBD didn't, so actually the Cadimidol doesn't have a lobby either. So I think that's when I question it, but if they're already gonna ban it, they're asking Board of Health, they're telling you, we're gonna ban it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing, you know?
If there are established health risks,
Just get out of the way of the state.
yeah, get out of the way of the state.
And make sure that everybody knows what's happening, so that spread of the word far and wide is
Yeah.
probably the best.
So I mostly wanted this on the agenda because I just want you guys to be aware. It is something that if we see it after August 28th, we're required as,
Okay, so you don't need us to
Nope.
take a
Nope.
specific action?
I do
The only
not.
suggestion I guess my last question would be, is the state likely to notify all license holders of recreational substances, i.e. liquor stores and dispensaries?
I don't know what their communication looks like. I do think they're relying heavily on local boards of health to go out and get the message out. So that's kind of what we will be doing.
So I agree with your focus on those that tobacco purveyors. I would not ignore license holders of other recreational substances.
The letters can go everywhere.
They're gonna go everywhere. In my head, kind of like my approach with Heather and I would be, we would probably just park downtown and go storefront to storefront and bring copies of the letter and the regulation, so people are aware.
Coming.
It's coming, we just want you to be
This thing
aware.
you probably don't know about is getting banned.
Yes. Well, and actually, it was interesting when we went out and were looking for the products in town a number of months ago, when it kind of was brought to our attention that this is something in Massachusetts communities. A lot of the stores didn't know they were carrying it. Like they were just told sell this product, and they weren't
Wow.
aware of
And
all the different products it can be.
It sounds like when it's abused too, it goes the opposite direction of what it's used for commonly. So if you take, like if you eat one of them, it's like wakes you up a little bit. I guess if you eat a bunch of them, it puts you to sleep, which is weird to begin with. I was sorry, I read a little bit about it before I got out here today because I was like, what are we banning?
Yeah, and I think the tough part is it is a natural substance and people have used it for medicinal uses. What's kind of scary right now is that they're making synthetic versions of it, and it's really, really difficult when you're out in the field for inspectors, store owners to like know what is truly the natural product and what's synthetic, because they'll still label the synthetic products as natural because it is unregulated.
And I am not going to disagree with your door-to-door approach. I'm going to leave it to your professional opinion as to whether or not you're reaching management with that effort. The people that make the buying decisions
Okay. Yep.
and, you know, the decision of what's on the shelf. I think the front of the house, advising the front of the house that this product is going to be illegal in a week is good, helpful, and healthy. But making sure that the others that make the higher level decisions in these businesses are also aware
So the
is
distributors?
is equally important.
Yep. And we almost always, when we go in anywhere, we always ask to speak to a manager or at least get their business card if they're not on site, so we can follow up. So that's pretty
The state's
standard.
certainly taking more time on this than they did with Delta 9 products. So.
Yeah, well,
They
and
wrote a letter and said, if you have a liquor license and this is on your shelf by Friday, like this week, we're taking your liquor license. Like, it was like, everybody's like, get this out my door.
With that, shall we move on to agenda item number 8, administrative, your show now.
it's my show. I'll try to talk as quickly as possible. But if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. So, first up, we have a food service establishment. It's going to be known as the Cormorant. It's going to be a new restaurant in town that is going in at 89 Old Colony, where a Broad used to be. They will be serving elevated pub fare. We did do a pre-operational walkthrough, so the owners were aware of anything that needs to be brought up to code. So they will be following up with us to have another inspection because they were kind of in construction mode, so we couldn't do a full inspection. They do have all the necessary food safety certificates. They have been in contact with the sewer department and participated in the FOG class. And the current owner at 89 Old Colony recently touched base with our department yesterday to let us know the installer plans to begin that sewer connection work the week of August 31st.
August 31st, good.
Okay.
So pending a final menu review and passing final inspection from the health department, we would feel comfortable with approving the.
That was the property that was
So it would be a
having some
motion to
problems.
approve
Yeah.
pending final inspections.
Right.
That is my motion.
Okay.
Second.
With Sim's motion and John Canega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up,
3-0-0.
we have a mobile food truck for Cape Cod Charcuterie, what is going to be known as the Cheese Wagon. This is going to be operated by Madison, who owns Cape Cod Charcuterie in town already. She has all the required food safety certificates and is going to operate out of her licensed food service establishment, pending a final inspection of her mobile food truck. We did go over preliminary plans with her already and looked good to go. We would feel comfortable.
Being pro cheese and meat,
Approving this.
I move approval of the mobile food truck permit for
Pending
Cape
fi-
Cod Charcuterie and Cheese Wagon,
Pending final inspection.
pending final inspection by the health department.
Second.
On John Kanega's motion and Sims McGrath's second, all in favor?
Aye.
300.
I'm also a cheese fan.
I just wanted to jump,
you
I
went
just wanted to
faster
jump
than I
on
went.
cheese and meat, so I just wanted to jump in there. Sorry.
Next up, we have a farmer's market permit for a new vendor, the Lighthouse Keepers. They are applying for a retail-only farmer's market permit to sell condiments like jams, hot sauces, drink mixes, pickles, etc. They do operate out of their licensed food establishment, the Lighthouse Keeper in Yarmouth, and they do hold all the required food safety certificates.
Do they have to pay a farmer's market fee, or is that held by the farmer's market itself?
There's a fee to our department for the administrative
Each one of
work we
them.
do, yes.
This one, okay. And it's for the
They're
year.
in most hardware stores, so
Yes. They're all over the place.
I would move approval.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
300.
Next up, we have a ton of temporary food permits. Some of these are gonna be retroactive just because we have so
We do
long.
the retroactive ones all together as one, or do we need to go through each one individually?
Up to you if you guys want to hear my little blurb about them,
Let's hear
or
the blurb.
Let's hear the
Let's
blurb.
hear
you
it.
wanna hear the blurb? Okay, so I'm just gonna go in order on the agenda so I don't accidentally skip anyone. Cloud9 Frozen Treats. They are applying for a temporary food permit to operate at First Friday outside Cape Cod Nails. This is going to take place September 4th. They're serving prepackaged novelty ice cream out of a ice cream truck that is licensed in multiple towns on Cape Cod and has a passing inspection. They also hold all the required food safety certificates and have a passing quarry as required for ice cream trucks.
Move approval.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second, all in favor?
Aye. That was for Cloud9 Frozen Treats.
Frozen treats.
Next up, we have the Orleans Block Party. This happened yesterday, so this is a retroactive approval that Joe had approved. They served hot dogs, prepackaged drinks, and had an individual on site who had all the required food safety certificates to.
If we corroborate the prior approval.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next.
0-0.
Next up, we have Fizzy Potions. This is a retroactive approval for a temporary food permit for them to operate at Fashion Week held at Town Cove Tap House August 16th. They serve drinks like dirty sodas and cold brew coffee, and they are a licensed food truck out of Falmouth who have all their necessary food safety certificates, and it had previously been approved by the chair.
Move we corroborate the prior approval for Fizzy Potions.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second, all in favor?
Aye.
300.
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
Next up is a retroactive approval for Underground Bakery for them to operate at Town Cove Tap House, their Christmas market. That took place July 18th. They do operate out of a licensed food service establishment by the same name in Dennis and hold all the required food safety certificates. They sell things like breads and baked goods. And this had been
Retro.
approved by you, John.
Oh, yeah.
Move retroactive approval.
Oh,
Second.
I didn't want to say corroborate.
On John Kanega's motion and Sims McGrath's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
300.
Okay, next up, we have Poor Boy Fisheries. This is a retroactive permit, similar to the previous one. It was for the Christmas market, July 18th. They operate out of a licensed commercial kitchen in Wellfleet and hold all the required food safety certificates. They sell retail seafood that's kept frozen on site until individuals buy it. And this had been approved by John as well.
Move retroactive approval of Poor Boy Fisheries.
Second.
On John Kanega's motion and Sims McGrath second. All in favor?
Aye.
300.
Next up is Cape Cod Charcuterie. This is a retroactive approval for a temporary food permit at Fashion Week, August 16th. You guys are familiar with Madison. She serves single serving charcuterie plates, and it had been approved by Joe previously.
I move approval of meats and cheeses again.
Second, enthusiastically.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 300, it passes.
Next up, we have Delici. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm afraid to try. Delicious Fresas and Sweets. I think I butchered that. They're going to be at the Nauset Summer Craft Fair this upcoming weekend, and they're serving baked goods, things like chocolate-covered strawberries, fruit smoothies, flan, tres leches, cakes, etc. They do hold all their required food safety certificates and operate out of a licensed kitchen.
We'll have adequate refrigeration. Move approval.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second. Any,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Next up, we have a bunch of limited temporary food permits. So the health department started treating some of these a little bit differently. If they're going to be a retail-only product that's low risk, like jams and jellies, we thought it was appropriate to use the limited temporary food permit fee rather than the $75 fee because it was a hindrance to small operations at things like craft fairs. So if it was a low-risk item, we said, yes, we feel you can use this limited permit because you're not actively making food on site. First up, we have East Wind Gallery. This is a retroactive approval for them to serve baked goods and charcuterie items that came from Stop and Shop at the August 7th First Friday event. Joe had approved this previously.
Move retroactive approval of
You
East
thought
Wind
you'd have,
Gallery.
you thought you'd have trouble with corroborate?
Second.
On John Kanega's motion, Sims McGrath's second.
What
All
day-
in
what
favor
time is it?
of the motion?
Aye.
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 Next up, we have
5 o'clock in Bermuda.
Great.
Next up, we have Cauldron Corn. They're serving fresh kettle corn at the Nauset Craft Fair this weekend. They do have all their required food safety certificates, and the popcorn's popped on site, so they do not need to prep anything in a residential kitchen.
Move approval for Cauldron Corn.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
No corroboration needed.
All, motion passes unanimously.
Next up, we have Bittersweet Herb Farm, and they're applying for a temporary food permit to sell retail items like dip mixes, like those powdered herbs you pour into like sour cream. At the Nauset Craft Fair, they have all the required food safety certificates and do operate out of a licensed kitchen.
Move approval of Bittersweet Herb Farm.
Second.
On John Kanega's motion and Sims McGrath's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Next up, we have PJ's Fine Foods. They are going to sell retail food items only that are shelf stable, like pepper jelly, mustards, and some dip mixes at the Nauset Craft Fair this weekend. They do have all the required food safety certificates and operate out of a licensed kitchen.
Move approval of PJ's Fine Foods.
Second.
On John Kanega's motion and Sims McGrath's second. All in favor?
Aye.
All passes unanimously.
Next up, we have Cape Cod Cranberry Harvest. They are selling retail-only items like marmalades and jellies at the Nauset Craft Fair happening this weekend. They do have all the required food safety certificates and do operate out of a licensed kitchen.
Move approval Cape Cod Cranberry Harvest, Inc.
Second.
On Sims McGrath's motion and John Kanega's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Next up, we have a residential kitchen permit for Bar None. They have been inspected by the health department at their home kitchen. It passed the inspection. They bake and sell fancy brownies, which they hope to sell at local farmers markets. They do hold all the required food safety certificates, and their labels meet the requirements for labeling.
Move approval of Bar None's residential kitchen permit.
Second.
On John Canega's motion and Sims McGrath's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Next up, we have minutes, and I might have jumped the gun because I don't know if Sims had a chance to look at them yet.
So for April 2nd,
I wasn't.
he wasn't here unless you watched it. We can't
so
vote
we'll
on
have
it.
to- Yeah.
So I gotta bump April 2nd.
What was the other one?
On
And May.
May 7th,
21st.
May 7th,
May
we
20th.
could add an A to the end of my name.
Yes.
I know. Just, I think diva is John Keneg.
So, you want to make a motion on the,
I don't make motions to approve my own minutes.
oh, okay.
But you're, so on the, in the, for the May 7th minutes, if you add a name, an A to the end of John Kenega, I move approval of those minutes.
And I'll second. So, on John Canega's motion and John Smith's second, I move, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the matter on the,
Right.
sorry, you wanna read them?
No, I'm wondering where you get May 7, because May 21's on the agenda.
I have both on my agenda.
It's on, they're both on there.
The revised agenda.
Here's a revised.
Revised agenda.
Mine's in color.
Okay, we've only
Oh,
got
I
this last
mean-
one.
Carry on.
May 21st minutes, I move approval.
Second, on John Canega's motion and John Smith's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved unanimously. Okay, anything else before we all say goodbye?
Under the health
Agents
agent
report.
report section, I did just want to make the board aware and any public who might be listening that West Nile was detected in a mosquito sample in Eastham as well as other Cape Cod communities, including Barnstable and Falmouth. So we know mosquitoes don't stay contained to town lines. So this is just a public service announcement to make sure that when you're outdoors during peak mosquito hours, which is dusk to dawn, make sure you're using EPA registered insect repellent, covering exposed skin with long pants, long sleeve shirts, socks or shoes, removing or draining standing water that might be on your property in gutters, tires, tarps, etc. And if you can, repair screens on doors and windows to help keep you safe.
That's great.
Move adjournment.
No, before you do that, I got one
No.
update that you need, a couple, Phase 3 sewering. It is now underway. We have, all of the homeowners in Phase 3 have now received, or should have received, their tie-in cards. They need to pay attention to those, look at the information that's presented up on the website for your specific property, make any changes that you need to make to that, where your tie-in is going to be relative to your, to the street and your property, by September 15th. You have 30 days to do it. And then also, work will begin on Phase 3 at Finley Road and Route 28 on September 15th.
I was just hoping 28 could get torn up more.
Yeah, there you go.
Just
So it is now underway, and
Nature's doing a pretty good job.
unlike previous phases where they have worked on the stations, the pumping stations first and then done the road, this time they're doing the roads first and then doing the pumping station on Finley Road. So just be aware of that as well, all right?
Move adjournment.
Second.
On John Canega's motion and Sims McGrath's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.